Good evening, welcome to Marty's Tying Bench. I'm putting together kits for this week's Vice Squad, and I've chosen something I call a mustard stone. We've got a lot of golden stoneflies around here, and this is a good pattern. It's got lots of details without a whole lot of complexity in tying it, so you can tie these in a reasonable amount of time and not worry too much if they get stuck in the rocks. The hook is a Dai Riki 700. That's a 4x long hook, size 10. And I got some .025 wire, and I'm going to put 13 turns. And you might ask why 13. Well, when I fit it up into the bead, the back of the lead here is going to be a perfect index point for the transition between my abdomen and the thorax. I'm using 140 denier thread. You want to pull pretty hard on a couple of places on this tie, so use 6/0 or 140 denier. I use yellow when I'm tying the lighter versions in a gold bead. I use brown thread when I'm tying darker versions, darker rib, copper beads. Now for tail material, I've got a plain golden olive Montana Fly Sexy Legs. And to be quick about it, I'm just going to tie the strand in on the top, fold the short one back, and stretch it a little bit as your thread approaches the curve of the hook, and you can get that nice fork in the back. There we go. For ribbing material, I'm using UTC D rib. The Nymph size is what's important. You can use amber, yellow, clear, brown, lots of different colors, depending on whether you want your stonefly to be lighter or darker. You know, these things are bright yellow when they first molt, and then they darken up over a period of time. As they mature, get a little more camouflage to them. So any shade is a good shade. Alright, for body material I've got dubbing, and it's Wapsi Life Cycle dubbing, and again you got the choice of a few colors. This one is kind of a dirty yellow. It's called a gold stonefly. And I'm not going to try and build up too big a body or too much taper. So get a good tight dubbing loop or dubbing noodle. There, right at the back of the lead. Start your D-rib around and have the round side out. It should only take 3, maybe 4 turns to get to your index point. For a shellback, I'm using ThinSkin. In the lighter colors, I use a light olive or a yellow, which looks olive. For the darker ones, I'll use a mottled mustard, orange, or a brown version. I'm just going to tie that in right on the top and get my thread just a little bit up onto the dubbing. So when this thing hinges, there's no gap showing. Back to the dubbing. Use the same dubbing I did for the abdomen. And I want the abdomen to be a little bigger around, the thorax to be bigger around than the abdomen. Now that's about the same size, but I'm going to put another layer on here in a minute after I install the legs. The legs are another Montana Fly product. This is Speckled Sexy Legs, yellow. And I'm going to take one of the strands and double it over. And cut it at the bottom. And then double these two over again so the tips are even. And there, now I've got 4 legs that are all about the same size. Makes it a little easier. I'm going to tie the first set of legs in on the near side, right in the middle of that thorax I built up. Now you see how there's a natural curve to the spandex, and I like that curving back towards the hook. You might like it the other way, but try it both. And then I'm going to install the far legs, also curving back towards the hook. Now with a little more tension here, you get those things to stand away from the hook a little bit. And that's a pretty wide band of thread there. That's alright. We're going to fill that in with some more dubbing. And here's where you can make up for any lack of volume from your first pass through it. And if you make sure that your dubbing right up against the bead is nice and firm, and approximate the size of the bead, when you pull the shell back over, it will look much neater when you tie it in. It won't end up with a pencil neck. Couple turns, these will pinch that in, and head cement would be a good idea on this one. There, see that bright yellow ends up as kind of a hot spot. If you used a darker thread, it would kind of disappear against the bead. Push those 2 legs forward, cut them a little shorter, and come in and tie the back legs about the same length as the abdomen. Pretty symmetrical. So there you have it. What did it take? 7 minutes, and I did a lot of talking. It's a pretty quick stonefly. Mustard stone.